Breaking news! What if I told you that the same defense that allowed 44 points in a single game is now shutting down opposing offenses with a confidence we haven't seen in years? Something has changed in that locker room. There's a name behind this turnaround. There's a strategy that has changed everything. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss what could be the beginning of something historic in Baltimore. But before we analyze exactly how this transformation happened and which player is being used in a way we've never seen before, don't forget to like this post if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you want, leave a comment below saying, "Go Ravens!" Because this team might be building something special, and you'll want to have your say when it happens. Let's go back to the beginning of the season. The Ravens defense wasn't just struggling, they were collapsing. In the first 5 games, Baltimore gave up an average of 33.32 points per game, including a humiliating 44-point outing. They were allowing over 400 yards per game, with 265 of those through the air. The run defense, which was at least a minor strength in past years, had completely vanished, allowing 141.3 yards on the ground per game. And the pass rush? Practically non-existent, with just 4 total sacks in those first 5 weeks. It wasn't just that the defense was bad, it was historically bad. On pace to allow 565 points, which would have shattered the NFL record for most points surrendered in a season. Bottom 2 or 3 in almost every statistical category. You remember the feeling, every team they faced, even backup QBs and mediocre offenses, came in and dropped bombs. No one was afraid to face this Ravens defense. And fans? We were calling for heads. Coordinator Zach was practically out the door in the court of public opinion. But then, everything changed. What we've seen in the last 8 weeks is nothing short of miraculous. The Ravens have gone from a defensive liability to one of the hottest units in the NFL. In their last 6 games, they've allowed under 20 points each time. 17 to the Rams, 16 to the Bears, only 6 to Miami, 19 to Minnesota, 16 to the Browns, just 10 to the Jets. That's an average of 14 points per game allowed over that span. This isn't luck. This isn't soft competition. This is domination. And yes, while the offenses they've faced haven't been elite, the numbers don't lie. Over the last 3 weeks alone, Baltimore's defense ranks top 6 in yards allowed per game, top 10 against the pass, top 10 against the run, and top 5 in points allowed per game. They've also racked up 7 sacks in that stretch. The improvement has been massive. Yards per game down by 130. Pass yards allowed nearly 100 fewer. Rushing yards cut by a third. Points per game slashed in half. So what's the difference? What sparked this turnaround? Look no further than Kyle Hamilton. The former first-rounder has completely changed the way this defense operates. Early in the season, Hamilton played primarily at free safety. He made plays, sure, but his impact was limited by design. This coaching staff saw something more in him. They knew he could be a weapon, not just a safety. So they unleashed him. They moved him all over the field. Just look at the snap counts. Hamilton has lined up 168 times in the slot, 162 at linebacker, 146 at free safety, 98 at outside linebacker on the defensive line, 52 at strong safety, and even 13 times at wide corner. He's everywhere. And when Hamilton is everywhere, the Ravens defense suddenly has an identity, a relentless, versatile, attacking unit. His ability to disrupt plays from every level of the defense, whether he's blitzing, dropping back in coverage, or plugging run gaps, has forced offenses to adjust every snap. Hamilton has become the centerpiece of this defense, and his emergence is the biggest reason why this team has flipped the narrative completely. And let's give credit where it's due. Zach or Ravens fans were ready to ship him out mid-season. But what he's done with this unit over the last 6 weeks deserves serious praise. He's not just salvaged the defense, he's re-engineered it. You can't write this turnaround off as just player execution. The scheme, the play calling, the adjustments, they're clicking. And Zach is at the center of that. Because what we're witnessing right now isn't just a good stretch of games, it might be the rebirth of a championship-caliber defense in Baltimore. And as we look closer, it's not just about Kyle Hamilton. This entire unit is beginning to find its identity, and it's happening at exactly the right time. Let's talk front 7. Draymond Jones and Mike Green have quietly become one of the most impactful defensive line duos in the AFC. While Baltimore still ranks near the bottom in total D-line production league-wide, the last few weeks have shown a different story. These two are eating up blocks, disrupting run lanes, and allowing linebackers to fly free. And that's where Roquan Smith comes in. Roquan's return from injury has been a stabilizing force. His leadership, sideline-to-sideline speed, and ability to diagnose plays instantly has given the Ravens a true field general again. When Roquan is healthy and locked in, this defense elevates. But even more surprising is how the Ravens are getting quality snaps from players like Teddy Buchanan. Not a household name, but someone who stepped up in a big way and added critical depth and energy to a linebacker core that, earlier in the year, looked paper thin. Now, zooming out to the secondary, this is where the transformation is most complete. Not only is Kyle Hamilton playing at an all-pro level, but the rest of the secondary has finally found rhythm and health. The cornerback room, once decimated and inconsistent, is now one of the strengths. And while the Bengals wide receiver core, featuring Jamar Chase, is still the most dangerous in the AFC North, Baltimore's defensive backs aren't shying away from the challenge. In fact, they're thriving in it. And speaking of Jamar Chase, it's worth noting, even with his dominance, this Ravens defense isn't backing down. They've gone from a group that couldn't stop a nosebleed in September to one that now stands toe-to-toe with the best. It's no longer a question of if they can compete, it's how high their ceiling really is. But this brings us to one of the most compelling and controversial elements of this turnaround, the Ravens' offense. Because while the defense is rising, the offense has stagnated. Lamar Jackson hasn't been at his best. The passing game has been inconsistent. Red zone execution has been shaky. And yet, the Ravens are winning. Not because of their high-powered attack, but because the defense is carrying them. That alone is a complete reversal of what we expected this season. Back in the offseason, everyone expected Baltimore to lean on Lamar, Derrick Henry, and a revamped receiver group with Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins. And while those pieces are still important, the defense has taken the driver's seat. That's not just unexpected, that's stunning. Which begs the question, how far can this team really go if the offense starts firing again? Because if Lamar gets back to MVP form, if Derrick Henry starts pounding defenses in December, and if Zay Flowers and Hopkins can get in sync for the playoffs, then this Ravens team isn't just dangerous, they're terrifying. But even now, as it stands, with a defense playing lights out and an offense searching for answers, Baltimore is still winning games. They've beaten playoff contending teams, handled trap games, and rebounded from early season humiliation. They've been tested, they've been counted out, and now, they're punching back. The next few weeks will tell us everything. Let's dig even deeper, because what's happening behind the scenes with this Ravens defense deserves more attention. One of the most telling indicators of a defense's confidence is how often they dictate the flow of the game. Over the past 6 weeks, that's exactly what Baltimore has been doing. They're no longer reacting, they're attacking. Zach Orr's play calling has become more aggressive, more unpredictable, and it's putting quarterbacks on notice. That timid, passive scheme we saw in September? Gone. Replaced by a fearless mindset that's bringing pressure from every angle. And it's not just the blitz packages, it's the disguises, the pre-snap shifts, the way Kyle Hamilton roams like a chess piece that no offense can quite account for. He's lining up at the line of scrimmage one play and dropping 20 yards deep the next. He's making quarterbacks hesitate, and in today's NFL, that hesitation is the difference between a completion and a sack. You can see the energy shift on the field. Watch the body language of this unit compared to earlier in the year. Back in weeks 1 through 5, heads were down, communication was sloppy, and players looked like they didn't trust the scheme or each other. Now, you've got pre-snap pointing, defensive backs clapping before the ball is even snapped, and sideline celebrations that scream one thing, belief. These guys believe in what they're doing now, and more importantly, they believe in each other. But let's be clear, this defense isn't perfect. They're still vulnerable in spots, particularly when offenses isolate mismatches in the short passing game.